I'm Augustus. I'm traveling in the United States to listen to the people I meet and to tell them about my candidacy for the presidency of the United States in 2028. I'm here in Dover, Delaware. I'm standing at the old State House, a building that sits at the very heart of the first state. Completed in 1791, this Georgian-style landmark saw the critical early years of our nation. Inside, a portrait of George Washington looks down on the Senate chamber, a reminder of the revolutionary spirit that started right here when Delaware became the first state to ratify the Constitution. Delaware's state motto is liberty and independence. To me, that isn't just a historical slogan, it's a living requirement for leadership. It means the liberty for every citizen to pursue their dreams without being crushed by the cost of living, and the independence from a political system that has become beholden to everyone except the people it's supposed to serve. Delaware is a small wonder, a name that reflects its size but belies its impact. It's a state known for the first state pride being the bedrock upon which the American experiment was built. It's also known as the Diamond State, as Thomas Jefferson once said, small in size but high in value, from the shores of the Rehoboth to the rolling hills of the Brandywine. It's also a hub of commerce, a place that powers American business, yet remains deeply rooted in the traditions of the Blue Hen and the heritage of the Natticoke. But it isn't just the geography or the history that makes Delaware vital. It is the resilience of Delawareans, people who value community, who aren't afraid of hard work, and who understand that liberty and independence are hollow words if you can't afford to keep the lights on. This is the 41st capital of my 50 plus 1 capitals tour. My plan seems obvious and necessary to me, but for other presidential candidates, it could be considered unnecessary, maybe even a waste of time. The plan is to visit every capital in this country over the course of about 60 days, not to give motivational speeches, but to listen, to hear about how the rising cost of healthcare and the recent property tax reassessments are affecting your peace of mind, to hear about the utility bill spikes that hit so many families this past winter, and the debate over how to make the first state affordable again for the next generation. It's time we make the security of the families who are currently holding this whole country up on their tired shoulders the country's top priority. Unfortunately, it seems we're being led by people who only care about the next 24 hours while you're focused on the next 24 years. They're focused on their bank accounts, and you're focused on feeding your family. To lead in Delaware, you have to be honest enough to say what everyone feels. When the people who work our farms, teach our children, and run our local shops can't afford to live in the communities they serve, something is broken. It isn't about the system anymore. It's about the fact that hard work in this state used to buy you a future, and now it barely buys you a month of breathing room. To lead the whole country, you have to know the whole country. And you can't know the country from a high-flying jet, a speeding motorcade, or a gilded office in D.C. You have to drive the coastal highway, admire the great cypress swamp, cross the mighty Mississippi, and visit the beautiful Smoky Mountains. Having lived in 7 states and visited all 50 at least once before, I think I have a glimmer of understanding of who we, the people of the United States, are. But you can never stop learning. That's why I'm visiting each state again, and will continue to do so both during my campaign and during my time in office. Now you might be thinking, who is this guy? As I said, I'm Augustus. I was born in New York State 65 years ago, and like you, I've worked for much of my life. I've seen presidents come and go and industries rise and fall, and I've seen as the people who actually make this country run are treated as sheep or cattle, not human beings. We've stopped looking at the person behind the work, and it's time we started seeing the human being again. You may be asking yourself, is he qualified? The Constitution says I am. You need to decide for yourself what qualified means to you. To me, being qualified means working as hard as I can to help the most people possible. Think about the people who meet in this capital or in Washington, D.C. How many of them are qualified in your eyes? How many of them are working to make your housing affordable or your prescription drugs manageable? It seems to me that many representatives have forgotten the primary requirement of their jobs, remembering who they represent. They shouldn't represent the lobbyists, they shouldn't represent their party, and they definitely should not represent the ultra-rich. Your representatives and the President of the United States should represent you, period. I stand for the people, not for corporations that treat employees like disposable parts, not for the rich who treat the law as a suggestion, and not for the special interests who think their way is the only way. I believe in a land of freedom and opportunity, not a land where out-of-state interests squeeze the life out of the towns you've called home for generations. Why consider an unaffiliated, unconventional candidate like me? Maybe because you're tired. You're sick of having to choose between generic candidate A and generic candidate B, neither of whom has had to decide between a medical bill and a grocery run. While a vote for a candidate who isn't a member of one of the two major parties can be scary, isn't it even scarier to have to choose between bad and worse? Choose to vote for someone who will actually work to make your lives better. Vote from compassion, not fear. I'm headed to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania next. I have 9 capitals and hundreds of miles yet to go. When you see me in your state later this year, don't just take a picture, come over and say hello. Tell me what's keeping you up at night. Tell me what you want for your children. I'm Augustus, and I'm here to listen. I'll see you in the state where you live. Testes, a place that empowers, a place that testicles, genitals, genitalia, 1277. Been a hubber.